For years, all we've heard about AI is the hype, right? This futuristic idea. But now it's really moving past all that. It's becoming this practical, super powerful tool for one of the oldest challenges in business, just cutting costs. So let's dive into how AI is shaping up to be the ultimate cost-cutting machine. So, first things first, what are we actually targeting here? Well, every single business deals with operational overhead. This is all the money you have to spend just to keep the lights on, It's everything from rent and utilities to the salaries of your admin staff. It's this constant pressure on your profits. And this overhead, it can really feel like this silent drain, just slowly chipping away at your bottom line. It's part of doing business for sure, but it's also where a ton of inefficiency hides. So the big question for any leader is, how do you stop it? Or at least, how do you slow it down? Well, the answer, more and more, is turning out to be artificial intelligence. AI is really emerging as this catalyst, this thing that can fundamentally change the entire overhead equation. And this isn't just some fringe idea. Get this, a whopping 93% of business leaders are actively planning to invest in AI for the specific purpose of reducing your operational costs. I mean, think about that. That's practically a universal belief in its potential. And look, this is not some far-off future stuff. It is happening right now. Today, about half of all companies are already using AI in at least one part of their business, trying to make things run a little smoother, a little cheaper. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Are we talking about massive game-changing savings? Well, those huge 20% plus wins are still pretty rare. But what's not rare are significant, tangible cost reductions. Over 40% of companies in the supply chain are seeing real, meaningful gains. It shows that AI isn't a long shot. It's becoming a reliable bet. And that is exactly why the people holding the purse strings are so excited. When you hear CFOs, the chief financial officers, calling AI the holy grail of cost reduction, it's because they're seeing the impact where it counts the most, the bottom line. All right, so where exactly is all this happening? Let's start with the places we all deal with pretty much every day, the back office and customer service. Just think about a classic, kind of soul-crushing admin task, like processing an invoice. You get the paper, someone has to manually type it all in, someone else has to approve it. It's slow, it's tedious, and it's so easy to make mistakes. This is the absolute low-hanging fruit for AI automation. And the scale of what's possible here, it can be just staggering. Take JP Morgan. They built an AI system that tackled a job that used to eat up 360,000 hours of work from lawyers and loan officers every single year. The AI, it does it in seconds. That's a revolutionary change in overhead. And we're seeing the exact same story in customer service. Almost half of all call centers have already brought AI on board. And for those that have, they're reporting, on average, a 30% drop in their operational costs, mainly by using things like chatbots for all those simple, repetitive questions. But, and this is a really important but, here's the reality check. When things get complicated or emotional, 3/4 of us still want to talk to a real person. You can't just fire up a bunch of bots and expect your customers to be happy. It just doesn't work that way. So that leads us to the strategy that's really winning, the hybrid model. You let AI handle all the simple, routine stuff 24/7. You use it to feed data and suggestions to your human agents, and that frees up your people to focus on the really tough problems where empathy and critical thinking actually matter. Now, AI's impact isn't just happening on computer screens. It's out there in the real, physical world, and it's completely changing how we manage everything from factories and warehouses to fleets of trucks. This right here really shows the huge shift in thinking. The old way to maintain a big piece of equipment was reactive. You just fixed it when it broke, or maybe on a fixed schedule. But the AI way, it's predictive. It uses data from sensors to figure out when a machine is about to fail so you can fix it right before it becomes a problem. And the results are pretty dramatic. We're talking about massive reductions in breakdowns and downtime. Those are huge, often hidden overhead costs. This whole approach doesn't just save you money on the repair itself, it keeps your entire operation from grinding to a halt. A perfect real-world example is that famous Orion system from UPS. By using AI to crunch all the numbers and find the absolute most efficient delivery routes, it saves millions of miles driven and a crazy amount of fuel. That's a direct assault on huge overhead costs like gas and vehicle maintenance. Or how about energy? Now, this is wild. By letting its DeepMind AI take control of the cooling systems for its massive data centers, Google slashed that specific energy bill by a staggering 40%. That's just pure savings, ripped directly out of a massive overhead expense. So yeah, it's pretty clear AI can save you a ton of money. But the real story, the true return on your investment, is what those savings let you do next. It's about turning simple cost-cutting into a genuine strategy for growth. But let's be realistic for a second. AI is not a magic wand you can just wave at your balance sheet. To get these kinds of results, it takes investment, it takes a real willingness to change how you do things, and it absolutely takes a clear strategy. In fact, the data shows that most companies actually struggle with this. Only about 1 in 4 really succeeds in scaling their AI projects to get the value they were hoping for. Now, that's not meant to be discouraging, it's just a reminder that how you do it is everything. Success is not automatic. So what's the real takeaway from all of this? Well, it's not just about pinching pennies. It's about turning that overhead from a fixed, heavy burden into something you can actually manage. It's about freeing up cash that you can now invest in new products or new ideas. And maybe most importantly, it's about empowering your people to stop doing the boring stuff and start focusing on creative, high-impact work. And that really leaves us with the most important question of all. Once AI has helped you become more efficient, once your costs are lower, what are you going to build next? Because that is the real opportunity here.